Yo, 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 what up, what up, what up? Can you guys hear me? If you can hear me, just drop a one in the chat. Getting situated over here. Let's get it, let's go. If y'all can hear me, just drop a one in the chat. We about to get started off real smooth, real smooth, real smooth, real smooth. Real smooth. What's going on? What's going on? If y'all can hear me, just drop a one in the chat. I know a lot of people probably thinking that's not live, but it is 7 o'clock EST on the East Coast. We about to get things on and popping. What's going on? If y'all can hear me, just drop a one in the chat. Let's get it. Let's go. Perfect. 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 I'm seeing some motion. Y'all, my name is Brian Waldron. We got an awesome class tonight. We're gonna be going through the motion. What's going on? Yo, if you are on IG, come join me on Zoom. DM me the word class. Let's get it. Let's go. Super excited about tonight. Super excited about tonight. We got a really, really dope class for y'all today. We're gonna be normally I'm standing up and whatnot, but I've been standing all week, so I'm trying to keep it smooth, trying to preserve my legs or whatever the case may be. Let's get to it, right? You've been grinding my bro. Salute. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. All right. Yo, so if you tapped in with me, just drop your location in the chat. Drop your location in the chat for me real quick. I want to see where you tapping in from. Drop your name, drop your location. I want to see where you at. I want to see where you at. Let's get it. Let's go. You feel me? Let me see. Where's everybody at? Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. I'm seeing Michigan in this place. Okay, cool. YouTube, what up? What up, YouTube? Let's get to it. YouTube, what up? We got a really dope class today. We're going to be talking about $50,000 in funding and how to go ahead and turn it into an event-based business. You already know St. Louis, you already know the business. Charleston, you already know the business. Brooklyn, you already know the business. Alabama, let's get it. Let's go. Yo, I don't want to even do too much talking or anything like that. I really want to get directly into this class. I'm seeing Shanita from Stockbridge, Georgia. That's smooth. That's smooth. That's smooth. One of the number one questions I want to ask, I'm seeing Rochester, I'm seeing Virginia. One of the number one questions I want to ask is I know a lot of people right now who's probably watching this webinar want to get to that next level. Anybody been feeling stuck? We got 100 days left we got 100 days left in the year, y'all. We got 100 days left. Anybody lately been feeling stuck? If you've been feeling stuck, I just want you to comment stuck for me real quick. If you've been feeling stuck, just comment the word stuck, y'all. Right? And the reason I like to ask that is because a lot of times we set these lofty goals and we want to get to the next level, but the biggest thing is that we want to understand why we are being stuck, right? And it's because of something called a constraint. That constraint is holding you back. That constraint is holding you back, right? We want to go ahead and make sure that, okay, cool, I'm moving past this constraint, right? So one of the biggest things that I talk about, right, is we got to focus on where we're going, not where we're coming from. Y'all feel me? So with that being said, I see we stuck. There we go. There we go. Okay. I'm seeing a lot of motion IG today. That's what's up. YouTube, what up? What up? What up? What up? I want to do some Q&A today too, just because, I want to get to the business and whatnot. But is it all right if I share my story real quick? Is it all right if I just kind of talk a little bit about kind of like how we got to this level? You feel what I'm saying? One of the biggest things that a lot of people don't know or a lot of people don't understand is that I actually started as a server, right? I actually started as a server, right? So as a server, I was making $360 a week. $360 in a week as a server. And eventually I was raised by a single mom, and my mom comes to me and she's just like, look, listen, I want to retire. Right now, you're not retiring nobody off $360 a week, or am I right or am I wrong? Right? I want to ask everybody who's in a Zoom right now, what is your biggest why? What is the reason that you even want more money? What is the reason that you even want to change the situation? What is that reason? Right? Is it because you want to leave your job? Is it because that you want to go ahead and retire your parents? Is it because maybe you just want to give your kids a better outlet, a better opportunity? What is that reason why? Drop for me in the chat. Drop it for me in the chat real quick. I want to see what is that reason to go to the next level. All right. So with that being said, right, I want to move and upgrade everything. I love that. I love that, right? So for me, my biggest why was that I was raised by a single mother, right? That's my mom right there in the paint. You feel me? Pursue passion, financial legacy. I like that. I like that. My biggest thing for me is that I wanted to retire my mom. One of my life goals was to retire my mom. And I told him the minute she told me, she's like, look, listen, I don't want to be at this job for much longer. That kicked something inside of me. I'm like, yo, I want to go ahead and get to that next level. Somebody put next level in the chat for me. So with that being said, like you gotta understand what is the reason behind doing this. You gotta understand the reason behind doing this. Is it all right if I give y'all a framework that's gonna help everybody get to that next level for real? Is it all right if I give y'all a framework? So this framework, that framework that I love, to discuss, that framework that I love to use is called Wake, Work, Win, right? And it's a framework that I've gone ahead and used so many times, and it's helped a lot of people because it goes ahead and unlocks the best version of yourself, right? So one of the first things with this wake is you got to stop sleepwalking through life, right? And if my energy seems low, whatever the case may be, I'm letting everybody come in. I'm seeing everybody come in, tap in, and all that good stuff, right? So is it all right if I share a Bible story with everybody, y'all? Is it all right if I share a Bible story? So there's a story in the Bible with Samuel and Eli, right? Now Samuel was a boy, he's serving under Eli. And when he's going to sleep, he's hearing this voice call his name. He's hearing Samuel, 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 right? Now, eventually, this happened over and over and over again. So Samuel goes to Eli and he's just like, what is this voice keep calling my name? What is this voice that keeps calling my name? And he's just like, this is God talking to you. That's when he told Samuel, he's like, if he calls again, speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. Right? Now, that's the point. That's the time when he realized that this is God's voice talking to him, right? How does this apply to everybody? Why is this important, right? Y'all got to understand that a lot of us are like Samuel, right? We listen to all these other people telling us how to go ahead and live our life, whatever the case may be, but you don't even realize that God trying to get your attention this entire time. Am I right or am I wrong? Right? So with that being said, you got to understand that if you're going to pray about it, you can't play about it. You see what I'm saying? If you are moving through life on autopilot, you are mistaking this call for background noise when this entire time you are realizing that, yo, look, listen, this is God trying to talk to me, right? When you finally wake up and you say, speak, Lord, I'm listening, that's when everything changes. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Bible says the hour has already come for you to wake up from your slumber. All right? Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Or am I chatting right now? Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? The biggest thing about it is that a lot of us not even lazy. We just living life on autopilot. You feel me? Like we are understanding, we know exactly what we got to go ahead and do, but we just live in the simulation where it's just kind of like, all right, like I don't, yo, what? All right, yo, this person is weird. Hold on. There we go. Boom. Yeah, this is I had never had a spammer in my Zooms, but I guess it's the first time for everything, right? For all my new people, right? So we talking about a verse in the Bible right now, right? Where Samuel was hearing God's voice, right? And for all my new people, is it okay if I share a Bible verse, y'all? For all my new people who just recently joined the Zoom, is it all right if I share a Bible verse real quick? So right now we talking about literally our framework, wake, work, win. Okay? Wake, work, win. Right? And the biggest thing about wake, work, win is that you want to wake, work, win. Wake, work, win is that you want to understand something, right? You got to understand that you got to wake up to your purpose to stop sleepwalking through life. A lot of us, we pray for these things. Okay, I want to be a millionaire. I want to make $10,000 a month. I want this, I want that, whatever the case may be. But we're not operating at that frequency. We're not operating at that frequency. Even before this call that I'm on right now, I've been working straight since 8 o'clock this morning. Like, literally just wrapped up recording more content, right? Woke up since 8 o'clock this morning on the computer, grinding it out, moving towards the constraint, moving towards the bottleneck. Why? Because I got a higher calling. I know for a fact that, hey, look, listen, this mortgage is gonna come out my bank account the next day for mom's. Like, you see what I'm saying? That's a level of frequency we gotta move for. We gotta wake up to our purpose and stop sleepwalking through life. Are y'all feeling me? Yes or yes? Right? The biggest thing is that some of y'all not even some of us not even lazy. We just living life on autopilot. This is your time to wake up. You said you want more. Well, you gotta start doing more. Right? When I want to get to this class, I want to talk about how we're going to go ahead and get to $50,000 in funding, or how we're going to go ahead and get to $10,000 a month. I want to talk about that, but the biggest thing is we got to understand what's stopping us in the first place. How many people here been feeling stuck? Comment the word stuck in the chat. How many of us been feeling stuck? How many of us been feeling like we hit a glass ceiling? How many of us been feeling like, yo, this is my time. I want to move to the next level, but I got something that's holding me back? How many of us been feeling that way? Just comment stuck in the chat for me, right? You're not stuck. You like Samuel. You mistaken God's word for something else. You listen to everybody else but the person you prayed to, right? Is it all right if I tell you about what we got going on in a couple weeks, y'all? Is it cool if I share with y'all what we got going on in a couple weeks? YouTube, what up? IG, what up? Is that if we share what we got going on in just a couple weeks? So October 6th, October 10th, what we have is a Find Fun Filled boot camp, right? And this is not for everybody, right? In the Find Fun Filled boot camp, you could spend 5 days with myself and my team learning one-on-one on how to go ahead and build your next events-based business. Right? We're spending 5 days together. Day one, we're going ahead and making sure that you fully understand how to find your first property. Day two, we're going into funding, right? Day three and day four, we're going into how you're going to go ahead and market your property. And day five, we're going into operating, right? All week, we are banging this thing out. That is, you are going to experience more transformation that week than you probably have all 2025, right? Right. So what I want to go ahead and do, right? So that boot camp is for 5 days, right? You're going to be learning one-on-one with myself and the entire team. Normally, tickets are $97, but what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to let 10 people between IG, Zoom, and YouTube get in for 50% off, right? All you got to do is go to myvenueprofit.com and use code 50. I'm going to drop it in the chat right now. IG, I'm going to drop it over for you guys over there as well. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the chat right now. And once you got your ticket, just come and got mine. We still got a lot more to talk about today. Once you got your ticket, just come and got mine, y'all. Just come and got mine, right? So here's the thing, right? Here's the thing, right? A lot of times we asking for these blessings, we asking God for these blessings, but then when we get them in front of us, we're just like, I don't know what I want to do, right? Which we're gonna talk about that in just a second, right? But that's part of the wake, right? We got to stop sleepwalking through life. When we get these opportunities, we got to run and go ahead and take them, right? So, like I said, I just dropped that in the chat, myvenueprofit.com. Use code 50. Once you got your ticket, just come and got mine, and we gonna keep on get this thing running, right? Y'all ready for the next step? So the next step is to work, right? Next step is to work. So now that we've woken up, now the next step is to work. Y'all familiar with the book of Genesis, right? Y'all familiar with the book of Genesis? Y'all familiar with the story of Noah's Ark? Everybody should be familiar with that, right? Just put yes or no in the chat. Just put yes or no in the chat, right? And once y'all got y'all ticket, I don't want to interrupt anybody who's getting their ticket, right? Because once you get your ticket, you spending 5 days with us. That's going to be a transformational week. You feel me? Right? Once you got your ticket, just come and got my ticket, right? So y'all familiar with the story of Noah's Ark, okay? Right? So what happened in that story? God told Noah to build an ark because a flood was coming, right? At that time, nobody believed in this flood because nobody had seen something like that before. Everybody thought Noah was crazy. Wait, hold on. Somebody told you that there's going to be a flood coming? What are you talking about right now? Right? But guess what Noah did? What did Noah do? He started cuts wood. He started hammering. He started building. He started putting it into action. He started putting it into practice for something he didn't even fully understand. Right? Did Noah stall? No. Did Noah debate? No. Did he complain? Did he hesitate? No. He worked. And then what happened after that? He worked so that at that point his family was saved. You picking up while I'm putting down? Right? And here's the thing, right? That's why that story just illustrates that ain't nobody here to bless potential. Ain't nobody here to bless thinking about it. Ain't nobody here to bless hesitation. Ain't nobody here to bless that. We're here to bless action, right? Because here's the thing, right? We can all talk about it. We can all manifest it. We can all this, that, and the third, whatever the case may be. But the only time things gonna move is when what? You move. The only time things gonna happen is when you make it happen. The only time that things gonna change instead of you waiting for this miracle is when you make this miracle happen. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Are y'all picking up what I'm putting down? One of my favorite quotes from the Bible, Proverbs, all hard work brings a profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. I know a lot of people who talk about it. I'm sure y'all know a lot of people who talk about it. There's a lot of people who talk about it. You feel what I'm saying? There's very few people who do the work. Very few people who do the work for it, right? You can't just want it. You got to go ahead and work for it. Am I right or am I right? You feel me? So that's why I say join us for this 5 day boot camp. Join us for this 5 day boot camp. Join us for this 5 day boot camp so you can experience a week of transformation. You know how I know somebody's serious about their goals? I look at two things. Look at their bank account, look at their calendar. Bank account to see how much money they've invested, calendar to see how much time they've invested. That's how you know somebody's serious about their goals. So for everybody here right now, if somebody looked at your bank account and calendar, would they believe that you are serious about your goals? Yes or no? That's a question for everybody. If somebody looked at your bank account, your calendar, would they believe that you are serious about your goals? Yes or no? Right? That's a question for everybody. Some people are scared to respond. I can see that. Some people are scared to respond. No, that's valid. And I want y'all to be honest with yourselves. I want y'all to be honest with yourselves. So if it's a no, right? If it's a no, this is the opportunity to change that. There's that opportunity to go ahead and put something into practice, put something into play. You feel what I'm saying? So at this point, like I said, we have the boot camp coming up in just a couple weeks. Once you got your ticket, just come and got mine. I'm put it right there, myvenueprofit.com. Use code 50, right? So then the next part is to win, right? That's the third W. That's the third part of this framework. The third part of this framework is to win, right? So one of the biggest stories that I love that illustrates this is a story of David and Goliath, right? So with that being said, what happened with the story of David and Goliath, right? Israel's soldiers, they scared to fight this 9 foot giant, right? But David, a shepherd boy, he goes up, showing up, and he's just like, you know what? I'm gonna take this giant. I'm gonna go ahead and face him. Now, David ain't had no fighting experience. He wasn't trained, he wasn't strong, he wasn't any of this stuff, but he stepped forward when others froze. Y'all feel what I'm saying? Like he stepped forward. Everybody else was probably more qualified, everybody else was more prepared, but he's the one that moved forward. Why did he move forward when everybody else didn't? Right? Here's the thing, right? Delayed obedience is just another word for disobedience. Delayed obedience is just another word for disobedience, right? Your giant may not be 9 foot tall, right? It may not be 9 foot tall, but a lot of times that giant comes in the form of debt, comes in the form of fear, comes in the form of procrastination, right? That's what it is. So that's the thing that you got to face head on, right? Bible says run in such a way as to get the prize, right? We got to go ahead and attack these things head on. How many, like I got a question for everybody, right? How many people been trying to make more money for the longest? You've been trying to start that business for 6 months. You've been trying to start that business for a year. You've been trying to get ahead for 2 years. You've been trying to do this thing for 10 years, right? This wasn't something that just popped into your head 2 days ago. This wasn't something that you just thought about 2 hours ago. You've been trying to do this. You've been trying to get this done, right? So at that point, what we want to do is we got to make a step forward. We got to face this giant. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Yes or yes? You feel me? I want to get into this class though. Y'all ready to get into this class? And once y'all got y'all ticket to the boot camp, just comment, got my ticket. Let's get it. Let's go. Boom, 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 boom. Cool, cool, cool. So one of the first things I want to talk about, one of the first things I want to break down, right, is we want to talk about funding. Okay. Does everybody know what the credit pie is? Just drop yes or no in the chat. Anybody know what the credit pie is? No. Okay. Anybody know what the credit pie is? Yes. Cool. Kind of mixed crowd. All right. So the credit pie. So when's the last time? So has anybody looked at a credit profile recently? Has anybody looked at a credit profile? No, got you. So the credit pie so one of the biggest things you want to understand about credit is that it's not the credit score, it's the credit profile, right? It's not the credit score, it's the credit profile, right? You can have a 750 credit score, but if you don't have a seasoned credit profile, it's not going to mean nothing. It's not going to make a difference, right? So we want to understand everything that goes into the credit profile, right? And it's called the credit pie, right? Number one, we have new credit. Number two, we have credit mix. Number three, we have payment history. Number four, we got utilization. Number five, you got age, right? So you want to understand exactly how to go ahead and target each and one of these different things, right? When it comes down to new credit, right, that comes in the form of inquiries. Ideally, you want less than 4 inquiries in the last 6 months. Now, here's the thing that you want to keep in mind, right? Any inquiry that's not attached to an open account can be removed. Okay? I want to say that one more time so y'all can write that down. Any inquiry that's not attached to an open account can be removed. Okay. So with that being said, you want to go ahead and call the bureaus and say, hey, look, listen, I didn't apply for this card. Can you get it off my credit report? And ideally, you'll be getting it off in 24 to 48 hours. Does that make sense so far? So with that being said, but here's the thing, right? Inquiries are only 10% of your credit profile. So it's not even the biggest deal in the world, right? Everybody who's on IG, come and join us on Zoom because now we're getting the class started. All right, let's get it. So just got the IG off. Here we go. Bada bing, bada boom. Cool, cool, cool. So with that being said, right, one of the next things that we want to go ahead and do is we want to understand credit mix, right? When it comes down to credit mix, okay, when it comes down to credit mix, what we want to understand is that banks like to see a mixture of credit, right? It's not just credit cards. I want to see auto loans. I want to see home loans. I want to see all these different things, right? So with that being said, right, one of the easiest ways to go ahead and do that is one, you could go ahead and be an authorized user, right? Two, you can add trade lines, right? Three, you can go ahead and add pledge loans. Anybody familiar with what a pledge loan is? Yes, no. And if I'm moving too fast, I apologize in advance. It's just we have so much to go through, but this is why the boot camp is so important, right? So definitely, if there's anything that you guys missed, join us for the boot camp. We're going to be going into detail on that, right? Cool. So with that being said, right, we got credit mix, right? When it comes down to credit mix, anybody know what a pledge loan is? This is going to be engaging. I'm going to be asking questions. So if y'all don't respond, then I'm gonna just assume that y'all know, right? So when it comes down to a pledge loan, right? A pledge loan is basically something you can get a pledge loan from Navy Federal, right? And essentially what you can go ahead and do is it's a collateralized loan, right? So I'll go ahead and put, say for example, $10,000 into a pledge loan, and then they'll go ahead and lend me $10,000, but now you could go ahead and pay back that 99% of that pledge loan. So with that being said, once you go ahead and do that, now you have a 99% paid off pledge loan reporting to your credit profile. Boosts up your credit mix. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? So at that point, now we have payment history, right? Payment history is the biggest thing that hurts people. Payment history is one of the biggest things that hurts people, right? When it comes down to payment history, what happens is that people have negative items, they have derogatories, they have collections, they have this, they have the third, whatever the case may be, right? So with that being said, what we want to go ahead and do is we want to make sure those negative items are removed. Now, I'm going to be honest here, right? Well, I'm going to be very direct here, right? These are one of the hardest things to get off the credit profile, right? That's why credit repair companies or credit specialists, that's why they're so important, they're so powerful, right? So with that being said, right? And we'll talk about some credit repair stuff in just a second, right? After that comes utilization, right? Anybody here have high utilization, more than like 30%? Yes, no, right? When it comes down to utilization, right? Utilization is about 30 to 35% of your credit profile. So with that being said, what we want to go ahead and do is we want to pay that down to at least about 10%, right? A lot of people will say 30%, but ideally you want to be about 10%, right? So with that being said, we want to go ahead and make sure that, okay, cool, like I'm paying these things down. Anybody familiar with what a reporting date is? Anybody familiar with a reporting date? Yes or no? Cool. So what a reporting date is, ooh, did my phone just freeze? There we go. Right. So reporting date is the date that the banks actually go ahead and report your utilization to the credit bureaus, right? So we're all familiar with a due date, right? We know what a due date is, right? Like, okay, cool, I'm going to pay my credit card off on the first because that's when it's due. I don't want to get a late payment. But here's the thing, right? That's not when they're reporting your credit. That's not when they're reporting your utilization. So with that being said, what you want to go ahead and do is you want to make sure and you want to understand, okay, cool. Like my due date is on the first, but my reporting date is on the fifth. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? So with that being said, call every single one of your credit cards, get the reporting date, put that on your calendar. Set your credit cards to pay the minimum payment on the due date. So now you don't have to worry about a late payment and you don't have to worry about high utilization. That's how I handle it. That's how I go ahead and do it, right? So I want you guys to write that down, right? Now, for anybody who has negative items on their credit report, there's a couple different ways to kind of go about that, right? Number one, we have consumer law, right? When it comes down to consumer law, that's typically when people want to go ahead. When people talk about suing the bureaus, they're typically utilizing consumer law, right? So with that being said, right, what we want to go ahead and do is you want to understand, okay, cool, the FCRA, Fair Credit Reporting Act, I'm putting all this stuff. You could utilize an AI or whatever the case may be, or get a consumer law attorney, and they're going to go ahead and fight these things for you. But the problem with that is that it's typically very expensive, right? Consumer law attorneys are $2,000, $3,000 to go ahead and take care of these things, right? Which is why a lot of people do the second thing called factual disputing, right? Y'all with me so far, right? Factual disputing is when people go ahead and send out the letters. They go ahead and hire a credit repair company and they send out the letters, da 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 da, whoop de woo, all that good stuff, right? Those aren't very effective. I see people in credit repair for years doing factual disputing, nothing happens, right? The third thing, the third way that most people go ahead and do it is they use Metro 2. Is anybody here familiar with Metro 2? Yes or no? Anybody here familiar with Metro 2? Right? So what Metro 2 does, Metro 2, it speaks the language of the credit bureaus, right? So what Metro 2 goes ahead and does is that they'll go ahead and make sure that and so with the AI that we use, right, with Metro 2, what it'll go ahead and do is it'll utilize artificial intelligence to go ahead, review your credit report, see all the negative items, and then it'll go ahead and create letters based on Metro 2 language, which is typically a lot stronger than factual disputing. That's how we'll see a lot of people remove negative items 2 to 4 months as opposed to 2 to 4 years. That kind of makes sense so far. So essentially, again, what Metro 2 does is it speaks the language of the credit bureaus, and that's why it's so powerful. All right. That make sense? Yes, no, maybe so. I feel like I'm losing some people. Want to make sure y'all got this, right? Beautiful. So one of the biggest things that we use, I know a lot of people are like, all right, cool. Like, how do I kind of use that? This is the website that we use. We use M2 Rapid Repair AI whenever people need credit repair. This is the website that we utilize. So you could just take that, park it, put it someplace else, whatever the case may be. And that's what we utilize. All right, cool. The next thing that I want to talk about are funding sequences. Are you guys familiar with what a funding sequence is? And again, like if this is too fast or anything like that, we're spending a full day on this in the boot camp. I'm gonna drop the link one more time to the boot camp, myvenueprofit.com. Use code 50. There we go. Cool. So we're going to be spending a full day on this during the boot camp, anything like that. So go ahead and put that there. So once you got your ticket to the boot camp, just comment got mine, shout you out, all that good stuff, right? So what a funding sequence is there's a certain way to acquire funding, right? So once you've repaired the credit, we've got that up and running and all that good stuff, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go through something called a funding sequence, right? What a funding sequence is that we're going to go ahead and make sure that say, okay, cool. These are I just heard something. This is the order in which I want to go ahead and apply to different cards, different loans, different banks, whatever the case may be, right? This is extremely important because if you go ahead and apply for cards or apply for loans or whatever the case may be in the wrong order, it will turn around and mess you up. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? So with that being said, I want to actually give you guys an example of a funding sequence, then I want to give you guys some do's and don'ts, right? So every single bank pulls from a different bureau, right? You have some that pull from Equifax, some that pull from Experian, some that pull from TransUnion, right? Every single bank pulls from a different bureau, right? So this is what you can go ahead and do, right? Number one, go to self lender, right? What self lender does is that you can go ahead and get two secured credit cards, no hard inquiry, right? So even if you have a lower than optimal credit or whatever the case may be, you can go ahead and do it with them, right? Number two, I would go with the Discover Cash Back card, right? They pull from Equifax. So that's going to be a different bureau, right? After that, I'll go with Navy Federal Green or Blue card. They pull TransUnion. So with that being said, now it's like, okay, cool. I have three different cards that pull from three different bureaus, right? Then I'll go over to American Express, the American Express Everyday card. That's a personal card, right? They pull from Experian. So now I have a card that pulls from Experian, I have a card that pulls from TransUnion, and I have a card that pulls from Equifax. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? So then at that point, you can go ahead and switch to business, right? At this point, now I'm going to go ahead and go back to American Express. Now, here's the thing with American Express, right? American Express, you can go ahead and get three cards. So actually, you can get up to four cards, one inquiry. So you could do American Express Gold, Platinum, and Blue Business all at the same time, get all three, four cards, and there's only one inquiry, right? I would go back to Navy Federal, get the Navy Federal Platinum, and then at that point, you can also do a local bank like a Key Bank or a Citizens Bank if you don't have those in your area, maybe even a Truist, all right? Cool. Let's talk about some common mistakes that hold you guys back. And again, if you guys missed anything, we'll talk about all this in the boot camp. So you have your boot camp ticket, you're good to go, right? Cool. Next, some common mistakes, right? A lot of people, what they do is they don't put the right business revenue, okay? what they go ahead and because sometimes some banks will ask you for projected revenue, some will ask for actual revenue, some will ask for preceding revenue, whatever the case may be, right? Now it's like, okay, cool. If you don't put the appropriate revenue, you are going to screw yourself, right? The next thing is not setting up your credit profile the right way. With that being said, right, if you don't have your credit profile in an optimal way, well, guess what? That's going to hurt you. That's going to burn you, right? Some people, they don't ask for reconsideration, right? When it comes down to reconsideration, right? If you get a low limit, now it's like, okay, cool, right? Now I have a $5,000 limit when you could have turned around and asked for a $50,000 limit. You see what I'm saying? Next, it's okay, cool. Some people apply for too many cards at the same time, or they don't apply in the right order, right? That's a big thing that holds people back, right? Some people they put inconsistent information, right? That's one of the biggest things. Yes, this is after you have fixed your credit 100%, right? Makes sense so far? Let's get it. Let's go. I see it's already 7:38. Questions, drop questions, drop questions. If you guys have questions, drop questions on that. I want to answer all questions. And again, like I mentioned, we have a boot camp. Wait, interesting. Got it, got it, got it. Cool, cool, cool. There we go. Again, our boot camp is going to be going through all of this stuff, right? So again, make sure if you have not already, come and join us in the boot camp, myvenueprofit.com. Use code 50. We got about 8 tickets left at the 50% off. If you don't take that chance, then you might be paying full price. But even at full price, it's still a winner. All right. So drop your questions. If you guys got questions, drop your questions. I want to answer everybody's question. And then we'll just kind of like wrap up from there. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Oh, y'all ain't got no questions. Y'all let me off easy. YouTube, what up? Got it, got it, got it, got it, got it. Can we sign up for the boot camp if we have fair credit? Absolutely. We're going to be spending a full day talking about credit, so you 100% can do that. Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to be talking about credit for a full day. Chee. Cool. Drop y'all questions. Drop y'all questions. Cool, 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 cool. All right. All right. So, all right, let's move on to the next section, right? So now with that being said, now it's like, interesting. Yikes. How much did this spend? Jesus. Got it, got it, got it. Cool. Getting the car, let me see, I missed that question. How much is the boot camp to start? It's $97 with the 50% off. It goes down to 48.50. Getting the cards is only when you have fixed your credit, right? Ideally, yes, 100%. Absolutely. All right. So, okay, thank you. No problem. No problem. All right, cool. So let's talk about the next thing, right? So let's talk about now it's like the credit's fixed. I'm in a good place. I have my funding. Now it's time to find my space, right? So the number one websites that we go ahead and utilize, we use loopnet.com, we use Crexy.com, and we use Craigslist.com. So I'm about to share my screen in just a second. Boom, 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 boom. Where'd it go? Cool. So I want to walk you guys through exactly how we go ahead and find properties, right? In the boot camp, we're actually going to be finding properties for you guys, so you won't even have to worry about this. We find everybody in the boot camp properties for them to get started with to see that same week. So you can go ahead and get started, right? So with that being said, right, let's start with the location. I'm going to start with Brooklyn, and I'm going to go ahead and get cooking, right? Boom. Let me go ahead and move this over here. Nice. Right. So I want to show you guys the exact parameters that we utilize to go ahead and find properties, right? So with that being said, I'm going to go to space uses. I'm going to go to industrial, retail. Why is this moving? Retail, restaurant, bro. What? Stop moving. Restaurant and all right, I'm gonna go ahead and hide this. There we go. And flex. So industrial, retail, restaurant, and flex, right? For rent, what I like to go ahead and do is typically we like to stay around 25 to $30 a square foot. So I'm gonna go ahead and put 40 just because you can always negotiate it down, right? Then for size, I'm gonna go max 5,000 square feet, right? Because you can always subdivide. Okay. So how many properties do we have available? 142 results, right? So let's take a look at some of these properties. Let's look at this first one right here. Cool. This one isn't bad. This one is not bad at all. This one is not bad at all. Absolutely not. This one's not bad at all. I like this one a lot, actually, right? Don't got to do too much to the floors. Walls just need a little bit of repaint. HVAC. I mean, what do you guys think? Would you guys take this property? Yes or no? Y'all could be honest. Would y'all take this property? Yes or no? Ski. Yep. Okay. I'm seeing a whole bunch of properties. Nice. So again, in the boot camp, we're finding y'all properties. So definitely make sure you tap in. You feel me? So next, right? So now that I have now that I'm looking at this property, right? One of the next things that I want to go ahead and do is I want to make sure I know exactly what to ask, right? Or I want to know exactly how we could go ahead and get into this property, right? So let's talk about, excuse me, let's talk about a script, right? This is exactly what you're going to go ahead and say to this property to get a site visit. Okay. So I'm going to call them. Boom. What's up? My name is Brian. I'm interested in 123 Main Street. Is it still available? Yes. What type of business are you looking to have? We're looking to have an event space business to host conferences, baby showers, wedding receptions, you name it, right? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think the landlord's going to be interested in that. Okay, this is where most people stop. This is where most people get it messed up, right? This is literally where most people stop, right? I'm gonna ask why. I'm gonna ask why, right? Oh, the it's just too much of a headache. Totally understand. I'm gonna reason with them now, right? Excuse me, totally understand why you would say that, right? At the venue I manage now, when we first started, events used to be such a problem. Now we have new policies in place to make sure that we get the right clientele that does not bring any of those issues. They're going to obviously ask what type of policies, right? Oh, well, we don't allow liquor on premises. We shut down before midnight. We have security on premises at every event, and we are fully licensed and insured, right? So, cool. I'm going to run it by the landlord and see what it says. All those things that I just mentioned were objection handlers. All those things that I just mentioned were objection handlers. You see? So now I'm going to turn back and say, how soon can I see the space? Oh, I can be there tomorrow afternoon. Perfect. Boom. I got it. Right? Y'all see how I segued right back into site visit? That's how you get that done. Right? Questions on that? Any questions on that? Now you guys could just ask whatever questions you want. All right? Before we wrap up and all that good stuff. All right? Questions, questions, questions. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Don't see any questions. All my people who joined the boot camp recently, all my people who joined the boot camp, there's going to be a page on the next. There's as soon as you get your ticket, there's a page on the next slide that says, "Hey, join the Telegram chat." Make sure you join the Telegram chat. All the communication and everything like that that we're going to be putting are going to be in that Telegram chat. So make sure you're in there. Again, for all my people who didn't join it yet, it is myvenueprofit.com. Use code 50 to get the 50% off, and I will see you guys in the booth.